Good evening, everyone. Would like to call the September 4th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting to order, please. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of members, please.
Commissioner Esparza?
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez? Commissioner Moody? Vice Chair Timmons? Chair Weisenberger?
Here. Okay, agenda item number 1, we have oral reports.
And just a quick introduction. We're very fortunate this evening to have Assistant City Manager Grisel Chavez with us to give the presentation. And it's very detailed. And I believe Anthony Martinez, the Finance Manager, is with us as well for backup. So turn it over to Ms. Chavez.
Thank you very much, John, for that very nice introduction. Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. Before I get into the details behind the new measure LR for business license reform, which is on the ballot for this November 5th election, I wanted to provide some additional background. This is something maybe the Commission has already been has seen before at prior City Council meetings. This was something that was discussed as early, I believe, as of March of this year, when the city hired a sales tax consultant through HCL to evaluate the existing business license tax structure. Study was presented to City Council, looking at the possibilities for updating the city's 19 ordinance that has been in place since before the 1970s, and how to get it modernized and updated to reflect the what the industry standard is for collecting a business license taxes, as well as to provide a equitable structure, and by changing it to what I'll discuss here, what the proposal is in the ballot. And at that time, the City Council in July, after the initial presentation was done in March, the City Council reviewed the recommendations from that sales tax study and was provided 3 different options for changing the tax structure based on the current structure being number of employees, changing that to be based on a percentage of $1,000 sales tax receipts, gross receipts paid for by the business. So based on that review of options in July, I think July 25th this year, the City Council then selected one option, and the City Council also adopted a resolution to place the measure on this ballot. And that's how we got here. We're at this point of providing the information to the public and providing an education campaign we're using our city website and social media. So just to give you some long background. And additionally, the city does have about 3,040 businesses that pay the city a business license fee now. And that was the basis of the analysis done by HCL. Those businesses pay about $1.3 million annually under the existing tax rate structure. So now I'll go into the details of the changes to the changes from the existing business license tax structure to what's being proposed. Currently, also under the rate that's being charged to businesses based on number of employees. The facts are that larger businesses are paying on average less per employee than smaller businesses. Those were the findings from the results based on looking at the data and the numbers. And so the change to that would I'll discuss that in the next slides. But the change to the proposed, if this proposed structure is approved, would shift that to make it to where it's more equitable, where the businesses are paying their fair share based on their size. So the measure that would be presented on the ballot, that was adopted by City Council via resolution under Measure LR, reads as shown on the screen in front of you, and it is called the Paramount City Services Business License Tax Reform Measure. shall the measure with no tax increase on residents and providing funding for general services such as public safety, 911 emergency response, gang prevention, street repairs, keeping public areas, parks safe by updating Paramount's existing business license tax to apply to gross receipts, parentheses, rates benefiting small businesses set forth in the measure, parentheses, generating approximately $350,000 annually until ended by voters, requiring spending disclosure, funds used locally be adopted. So as you might know, all the measures on the ballot are very wordy and, are generally one question, and we're limited to characters and words. So we wanted to be as transparent as possible in making sure the measure in the measure language contained as much information as possible. So the proposed tax rate structure, again, being modified from the existing based on number of employees, is changed as follows in the screen in front of you. Under the retail-related business, general business category, those types of businesses would be taxed at the rate of 30 cents per $1,000 of gross receipts. The next category of professional services would be taxed at the rate of 70 cents. And the rental category, and that's your commercial and residential rental type of businesses, that would be taxed at 40 cents per $1,000 gross receipts. Contractors at the same 40 cents, and long-term medical care facilities at the rate of 35 cents per $1,000 gross receipts. So those make up the different types of categories where all the businesses would fall under. And if this structure, this change is approved by the voters on the ballot, the results are certified in December, and then the rate structure would go into effect as on January 1st next year. And as stated, it would not result, there would be no increase to any taxes paid by residents. It only affects the businesses who are operating the licensed business in the city. And you heard me talk earlier about the current revenue received by the businesses is about $1.3 million. So if this is a successful measure approved by the voters, the city would see an approximately increase in about $350,000 more annually. The increase in the general funds would be used on anything in the general fund category, specifically to the city's intended use to fund services and programs in public safety, gang prevention, 911 emergency response through services by the Sheriff's Department, maintaining parks, public spaces, streets, and after-school programs. So the outreach and efforts have begun since following City Council's adoption of that resolution in late July. Prior to that, there was a survey conducted by a professional research firm, FM3, that had completed a survey by getting feedback from the community as to their level of support for such a measure and the willingness to revise the tax rate structure. The city has also met with the Chamber of Commerce in anticipation of the item being presented to City Council, of course, and to educate them as well, being they're an affected stakeholder. And we have started with you tonight with the commission presentations, and we're continuing the rest of this month to inform the rest of the commissions. And we have been conducting weekly outreach of information with the public through the weekly newsletter, social media release. We have a dedicated city webpage on the measure LR, and then we have an upcoming city publication, as you know, around town, goes to all the addresses in the city to again continue to get the word out and educate the community, so they are informed voters. And the process begins with the pamphlets being mailed out at the beginning September 26th, and the vote by mail ballot process will begin roughly around October 7th, and the voting centers open, just about less than 2 weeks before the election day of November 5th. And that concludes my presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions and or with the assistance of our manager, Anthony Martinez, as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that report.
Thank you very much. Have a
This may
good
sound
evening.
like a
maybe a silly question, but so the residents are not going to be taxed any additional amount, but yet the revenue is going to be $350,000 increased. Is that what I heard you say?
Correct. That's from the increase from the businesses that pay that would pay the adjusted tax rate.
So the burden would fall on the businesses.
Yes, correct.
Does any of this money come from taxpayers?
No, just the business owners or the whoever is paying the business license fee. That's who would be seeing an increase. Some are seeing a decrease, though, as I mentioned earlier. Smaller businesses, and I didn't mention this detail, but about 50% of them, of small businesses, would likely see a less business license tax compared to what they are paying now. And larger businesses may see a larger a rate compared to what they are paying now.
So you said there's about 3,000 businesses in the city?
Correct, yes, a little over 3,000.
That's not a very big increase. For $350,000,
Yeah.
it's a good chunk to the city and not too significant to the businesses, I hope. And have you gotten any feedback from the chamber, their thoughts on this increase or proposed increase?
Yes, we did meet with them. Our city manager actually initially met with them, and then I was a part of the meeting that followed. And they generally they understand. Our feeling is they understand why we're doing it. It's a very old ordinance. It's outdated structure. It's not collecting a proportionate share based on the business sizes. There are, what I got is some of the businesses do not, they would prefer we not change this tax rate structure, but generally, I believe the businesses we spoke to, at least, they generally understand.
And you said that a smaller business can benefit. They actually could pay less.
They would, based on the calculation done by the tax consultant, more than, I think it's 52%, Anthony, more than 50, yeah, so more than 50% of small businesses would see a decrease in the tax they pay. And on the opposite side, again, larger businesses may see a larger increase. It's tied to percentage of gross receipts and the type of business they are.
Thank you.
I know part of it is because of we're trying to make it equitable for all businesses. I mean, I understand that. But I think because of COVID, a lot of the larger businesses aren't even doing as well as the smaller businesses, even with more employees because they have more reasons to pay in different categories. But I just wanted to know, with the tally that you've taken with the businesses, I mean, you said some of the response they understand, but I mean, I don't want us to lose businesses in our city. They're doing it in other cities, I know that. But because we don't have a lot and we're a small city, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, and to speak to and add to Commissioner Gonzalez's point, one of the three options presented to City Council, the option City Council selected was the least revenue generating. Other cities like Santa Monica and I forget which other recently were instead of 40 cents per $1,000, we're charging $1 to $2 per $1,000, so 4 to 5 times. And that was an option that the sales tax consultant presented. And I believe our city council wanted to be supportive and understanding of the impacts to the businesses, that if they chose to generate a lot more money than the $350,000, it could drive out businesses. So this was a very modest amount that would still accomplish what the city was trying to do in updating the structure. and changing it so it's more
Equitable.
modern and reflective of kind of or meeting the need.
I know other cities are doing it. I've heard them. I think Orange County raised theirs as well. Happening.
How do we compare surrounding municipalities and cities?
Most of them are collecting based on percentage of sales tax, but lots of them are a lot higher than our percentage rate proposed.
Was there any option that that was considered that went with the new structure on business size instead, or, the gross receipts instead of employees, that netted no revenue increase?
No, the options presented, all three options resulted in a revenue increase.
And those three options were decided by who?
The consultant presented those to City Council, and then City Council selected the option.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, I like the categories that the money might be going to. So that's a good thing.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions?
Thank
Sarah?
you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your time.
Presentation. Okay, let's go to agenda item number 2, approval of minutes from August 7, 2024. We need a motion and a second.
Timmons, so moved.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza, Commissioner Gonzalez,
Abstain?
Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, agenda item number 3, tentative parcel map number 0484335. This is a request by Paramount Gateway LLC to create 3 lots from 2 lots totaling 3.3 acres at 15101 Paramount Boulevard in the Plan Development with Performance Standards Zone. A mitigated negative declaration pursuant to California Environmental Quality Act guidelines will be considered. We have a staff report tonight, John?
We do. And I'll be handling this one. So this is a follow-up to the presentation that you heard in August, on August 7. That, if you'll recall, that was for the conditional use permit for this project, the project being the Sprouts and some other businesses redeveloping the former Lindsay Lumber property. Conditional use permit. The second was the Planning Commission reviewed and approved a recommendation to the City Council for the zone change that would move away from the lumberyard and hardware store to some other commercial uses. That's going to the City Council next week. And last month, the Development Review Board approved, you as the Development Review Board, approved basically the design for the project. So this is the follow-up in addition to the zone change next week from Council. So a reminder, the applicant is Paramount Gateway. And so this what you have before you is a tentative parcel map, and that's the application to subdivide the property. The whole site is one site, one main property, and a little sliver of a property on Colorado, and I'll show that in the next slide. But in the end, the proposal is to rearrange this into three lots, one for each building. And I should also add, process-wise, so the Planning Commission reviews the tentative parcel map, and then the follow-up is the final map that goes to the City Council and eventually gets recorded to the county recorder. So here's the aerial photo. So you'll see Somerset at the north running east and west, and then it intersects with Paramount Boulevard running north and south. Those are the two major streets, but of course it's bounded by Adams Street on the south and then Colorado on the west side. There's an alley off of Adams, you can see, and there are 4 existing residential properties that you also reviewed. Just kind of the context, those homes are also they're in a manufacturing zone, M1 zone. they've just kind of, they're there. They have endured. Here you have on this slide the 3 proposed parcels, the 3 properties. They're just kind of different colors just to make it easier to see. And you can see at the top is what's labeled as parcel 1. Then you'll see on the right is kind of a summary. So parcel 1 would be 41,963 square feet, almost an acre. And if you kind of look at it, there's a highlighted proposed building. So that would be the building that would have 2 restaurants that you approved with the conditional use permit and the development review. Parcel 2 has the largest of the buildings in this whole project, and that's would be the Sprouts Market. The Sprouts Market that they've already signed a lease, so really happy about that. You kind of see an outline of the existing building that will be demolished, that will be removed. It says that's the main hardware building for Lindsay Lumber, or the Ace Hardware as it's branded. And then the southern property is at the corner of Adams and Paramount, is labeled as parcel 3. And that one you can see on the bottom is 0.644 acres, a little over half an acre. And the main bounded building is shown. And then the kind of the fainter lines are the existing buildings that will be removed as part of the project. So with this approval, it includes a number of requirements, including having a reciprocal agreement. So if you're a customer at Sprouts, you very well might think, I'm going to head over to this restaurant to the south to get a coffee. And so you're parking on one property and going to another. So there's a lot of flexibility. So there will be an agreement, basically kind of like CC&Rs. So a shared agreement for maintenance and operations that will carry this development through the years. And there's also some electric charging stations involved. And with that, with the charging stations, you may charge your vehicle, your car at one property, and if you have an electric vehicle, and shop at another one. So, good thing to have that agreement in place. And a reminder of how it looks. So at the top is looking south across Somerset at the main hardware building. The signs are still up, even the banners, they're still there, just kind of a reminder. They made it to their 100 years there. And I did mention that it's a legacy business, meant a lot to this city, but they're, the land under their feet, they're moving to, so is it West Covina? And Chino Hills, excuse me, thank you. I was the C. And on the bottom, you'll see the 2 other views. The bottom left is the alley off of Adams and one of those homes we mentioned, and on the right is looking to the southeast, and there's the main the lumber building. It's not fully enclosed on the inside, so those will be coming down soon. And one other thing, there's a requirement that you put into your approval last month to have this demolished within 45 days. So the clock is ticking. The next slide, this is just similar to the previous, but highlighting just or showing where the parking lot will be. It's a little more defined features in the drive-throughs. So, in a reminder that the top is the 2 suites, middle is Sprouts, and the bottom is the coffee shop restaurant. You'll see how they're branded in this slide. So the top, you'll see the Sprouts Market. The middle, it's depicted here is with Panera Bread and an unidentified tenant so far. Leases are not signed, but I understand the Panera Bread is coming along very quickly. Should be a matter of days. Make that official. On the bottom, you can see it's branded as a Starbucks. So same thing as Panera. That lease is not signed, so it's preliminary, but they do have the logo on the wall on the drawing, so that does speak for something. There was an environmental analysis, a very detailed analysis conducted for this project. You, as the Planning Commission, you recommended that the City Council adopt a mitigated negative declaration, which by doing so would make the project not result in any significant impacts on the environment. And your recommendation, it's being taken to the council next week on Tuesday for their review for approval. So that's really it. We're recommending that you adopt the resolution 24025 or PC 24025, approving tentative parcel map 084335, subject to the conditions of approval. I would mention that the conditions do include conditions from the fire department and went out to them, very detailed conditions. Went to our public works department, and the city engineer included some conditions, and the NP, there are some NPDES conditions in there. So the National Permit Discharge Elimination System that keeps the water from being contaminated. A lot of detailed conditions on that. And happy to answer any questions, of course.
Thank you, John. Any questions here?
I have a question. I know we went over this before, but just want to know, is there any potential that we might, or is there anything planned for the 4 properties that are there? Are we negotiating, or is anything going on with that?
With the properties, yes. So a lot of negotiations have gone on with the city and city's representatives. If you spoke with the property owner a couple years ago, and if they had it their way, there would already be a car wash up and running. The city doesn't not particularly want a car wash, so there was a lot of discussions and a lot of work. We actually had some help. There is a kind of a retail specialist that knows all the big players that has done some work for the city and kind of put a good word in for the city. Worked very hard to get some quality tenants. So yes, we are working on that successfully. We one big success is having the Sprouts lease signed, and then we're close to having the others signed.
Good, good. After all these years, I hate to see Ace leave. It's like a staple, but it would be
True.
nice to have the whole complex. You know.
That is right. So and then the opening date is 2026. So a lot of work in the next year and a half or so, but yeah, we're very excited about that.
So is that the target date now for the banner tenant?
Yes, 2026.
Very nice.
John, does the seller of the property usually have a say in what's going to go on that property in the future?
Well, the initial seller, I think you're speaking not to the Lindsay family, but the present developer,
Well,
or
I'm
the
not
Lindsay
sure.
family.
I read in here that I thought I read that either the previous owner or the seller was working with the people in the city and also this the Gateway LLC to decide what was going to go on that property.
There's some give and take. So it comes down to zoning. So right now, actually, the city was in a unique position to have the leverage to really fine tune the types of businesses that could go there. Before you made the recommendation to the council and the council's approval next Tuesday, and the 30 days later, or 30 days after the adoption, we'll have a new zone. So before all that, the only thing that could happen here is a lumber yard, lumber mill, and a hardware store. So the property owner, it's in their interest to get the best value, the best bang for the buck. That does not always 100% align with the city's interest or the community's interest. Community wants some higher end retailers. We want options. There's a whole range of options, but here's an option that we do not have. So you pass on the car wash, you pass on some other types of businesses. You don't really need a cell phone store. You may, this and that. So by having that particular zone and saying, well, in order to get to where we have a mutually beneficial slate of businesses, let's work together, and so that we can eventually get that zone change you need to make this all work. I hope that didn't complicate things too much, but
Well,
yes.
I'm just thinking, John, if I sell my house, I can't tell the new owners what they can do with the house. It sounds to me like maybe the previous owner was saying, we'll sell you the property if the car wash can go on the property, and if this can go on the property, and we can get it rezoned for this. Is that kind of the way it goes?
Well, so the previous owner, the Lindsay family, they just wanted to sell and get the largest dollar. There were a number of offers. Actually, before COVID, there was an application that the city was going to recommend approval for an LA Fitness, a gym. COVID happened. Gymnasiums took a large hit. so that did not pan out. So kind of the whole process had to start over. That was the so the Lindsay family, they found that great buyer. We kind of worked that out. COVID destroyed that. We all started over to start this negotiation process over again. So that seller, the Lindsay family, they simply just wanted to sell for the highest value they could get. Now we have a buyer, which is the developer, which is at this point Paramount Gateway. They want to develop a high quality project, and eventually by parcelizing like this, it's in their interest to eventually sell it to those businesses, and to those businesses. Three buildings. One of them has 2 tenants. Yeah, let's kind of go back.
So eventually, those properties are going to belong to 3 separate owners?
Yes, and that's why it's important to have the agreement, kind of like a CCNR's, the covenant, to have a agreement in place. And the agreement was reviewed by our legal team or the city attorney. Sure.
Good deal, though. I think that's a good deal.
You got a business to put in there? Depends, yeah. John, what kind of business are we looking for in the 4th tenant?
Well, we're actually really close. And if we were to actually have the mitigated declaration, and I believe it says a tenant by name, so I'll just read it, which does not have a lease quite yet. The commercial buildings include a Sprouts Market, actually it doesn't, Panera Bread, and tenant B, a pending tenant. So I'll just say there are 2 very high profile potential tenants that a large amount of people will appreciate. Okay. So, but I guess I can't really say at this point, but
It's got to be food.
Suffice it to say.
It's going to be food.
They are food. They are food based. Yeah. Food. Right.
That's food or something.
Very good.
I hate to be so vague, but that's really where we are.
We don't need a Cane's. We don't need a Cane's.
They probably want more space. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, any other
Okay.
questions?
Great questions.
Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, let's open the public hearing portion of this agenda item. Have we got any testimony tonight?
We do. We have one comment that was emailed in. So I'll read the comment, and then I do have a little city response to that, just for your information. This is from Rose M., and I'll just read it. Hello, City of Paramount. My name is Rose. I live in the alley right across the street from Lindsay Lumber, where the new zone is coming. I had a couple questions. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited about Sprouts. It's going to be closer to me. And there's a smiley face. My question is more of a concern, or worry, I should say. As of today, I have several cars that use the alley I live in as a shortcut from Jefferson Avenue to Adams Avenue. With these new stores coming soon, I'm afraid it's going to get worse. Is there anything that can be done to minimize the traffic through the alley? Also, I have a question about the handicap parking at the new zone. You're allowing 8 handicap parking spots. I believe you should add a couple more. Speaking for myself, my husband is handicapped right now. We don't have a car, but when we did all the stores we have gone to, all the handicap parking was taken. I think it would be nice to add a few more. Thank you to our time. I hope my opinions can be heard and dealt with when the time comes. Thank you, Rose M. And it's signed, and it does say her address, 15329 Paramount Boulevard. So about the alley, I did speak with the Public Works Director about that, and she said that she'll explore options on signage. So with understanding that some signs are read more than others, or they could be directed more to the law-abiding residents, but she'll explore some signage, basically saying no through traffic, or for residents, only, or that not, you can't restrict to only residents, but probably no through traffic type of signage to post at near the alley entrance.
What about the handicap?
Handicap. So they will be developing it to the code, to the building code. We could have the applicant take another look, but that could impact the arrangement. So just going back to how the site is laid out, it probably would not work to add more, and that's the unique configuration of the property with the drive-throughs. Just kind of just how it is. It's kind of one of those easier said than done things. And if you do add more, oftentimes you have to add the loading zone to make it. Rick would be building and safety manager. Rick, 17 feet wide or 17 feet wide. So you go from 9 or 10 feet to 17 wide. So we are very sympathetic, but we don't want to overpromise on that.
So the alley has to be open no matter what.
The alleys are public alleys, and they would remain open. And that's just the way they're set up. There's garage openings. There's Athens goes through there and whatnot. Yeah.
In my area, you know,
Yes, that is true.
So as far as the handicap spaces, as long as they're to code. As long as they're to code.
Yes, and if sometimes we've had applicants, or we've heard of applicants that may add one or two more. There's no argument against that. But when it comes to our approval of the role of the city, it's another thing about overstep. You don't want to overstep.
I have a question too, if I may. Sure. You said that we would have for the alley no through traffic.
That's what the public works director would explore this particular language, and I think we would run it through the city attorney's office, and just make sure it's displayed prominently and correctly.
So how would that be if they're coming out of the market maybe and going through the alley? What would stop the traffic?
No physical stopping, but let's go to the aerial photo.
What an arm.
An arm, yeah.
Well, yeah, right.
Speed ups.
You have to have a receipt to show sprouts.
That's actually not a bad idea. So interim city attorney Martin is suggesting the little like bots dots. So we could bring that up.
That would be good. Something, it has to be something that would make them, that would alert people going through. A sign is not enough. Yeah, that would be good.
Da-da-da. Yes,
Thank you.
we'll pass that on to the Public Works Department.
Thank you. Okay.
Good idea. Okay, so is there any more testimony?
No further comments.
Okay, do we have any additional questions for, okay. In that case, we need a motion then to close the public hearing portion.
Gonzalez moves to close.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza, Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, then now we can consider a motion to adopt this Planning Commission Resolution 24025 to approve this request to create the 3 lots from 2. Okay, need a motion?
Gonzalez moves to adopt.
Timmons second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza, Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons,
Yes.
Chair
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, that was our old business, so let's move to our new business. Agenda item number 4. This is conditional use permit number 968. And this is a request by Dana Epley and 7-Eleven Incorporated to repeal conditional use permit number 516, which is for the sale of beer and wine for off-site consumption, and to allow the sale of beer, wine, and distilled spirits for off-site consumption, which is a different type of a permit. Okay, and that is to take place at the 7-Eleven store number 33319 at 8502 Alondra Boulevard in the C3, which is general commercial zone. This project is a Class 1 existing facilities categorical exemption pursuant to Article 19, Section 15301 of the CEQA guidelines. Do we have a report today?
Yes, so that original conditional use permit was for Paramount's first 7-Eleven. We now have a couple more locations. There's another one at Somerset and Lakewood. We have Paramount and Rosecrans. So just a little note on the front end that this is only for this location, and it was reviewed based on the circumstances for this location. This is not a gateway to approving something similar for all 7-Elevens, or let alone all liquor stores in town. So we'll just be mindful of that. And from here, we'll have planning intern Cameron Younger take it away.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Planning Commission. I'm here to present to you conditional use permit number 968. So this is a request to repeal conditional use permit number 516 and attain a new CUP that allows the sale of not just beer and wine, but also distilled spirits for off-site consumption with a Type 21 California Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control, or also known as ABC license. This will be located at 8502 Alondra Boulevard in the C3 General Commercial Zone, a part of our Central Business District. The total lot size is 31,468 square feet, with the floor area of the 7-Eleven itself being 3,760 square feet. So in March of 2002, the Planning Commission approved the opening of the 7-Eleven in the city with the sales of beer and wine with what is called a Type 20 California ABC license. This new designation would be Part 21, which would allow harder liquor to be sold here. As you may or may not know, 7-Eleven is a convenience store that sells household products such as snacks, beer, and wine. They operate 24 hours a day. They will have 1 to 3 employees per shift. Alcohol sales will be from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., and spirits will be locked on a display shelf, only accessible to store employees. So similar to that photo in the bottom left, that's how the spirits will be locked up in the hard liquor. Here's a little public safety review. So between 2003 and July of 2024, this 7-Eleven has seen a dramatic reduction to calls for law enforcement in comparison with 2022. So in 2022, the Paramount Public Safety Department saw 41 law enforcement calls made to this 7-Eleven over the last year. And then from January 2023 to July of 2024, there has only been 18 calls for such incidents, as highlighted in the table below. So as you can see, business disturbances, for example, saw a dramatic reduction in phone calls, being from 10 to 3 and kind of the current, or at least from up to July 2024. And then also, furthermore, public safety has reviewed our proposal, and they have no opposition to the CUP approval. Here is highlighted a top-down view of the 7-Eleven itself. It's highlighted in blue, as you see there. It does also kind of adjacent to the right would be the Golden Bowl, but 7-Eleven is highlighted in blue, as I just said, and they have 18 parking spots. And then here are some property photos, a photo of the front of the property. Please note that as a condition of approval, the store will have to remove any blemishes from the wall or parking stalls or any trash enclosures. They'll have to make sure that those areas are refurbished and up to our standards. As you can see here, here's the site plan for 7-Eleven. As I said earlier, there will be 18 parking spots provided and 1 Americans with Disabilities Act parking space as well, included with a walkway, as seen on the mouse. And then here is the floor plan for 7-Eleven. So in orange, you can see the proposed liquor location. It is tentative right now, but regardless of the placement, the hard liquor will be locked up. It's very important. And as you can also see, I've highlighted the main entrance, side entrance, office, and training room. So from my analysis, like you can see that the 7-Eleven is compatible with the other surrounding businesses. in the commercial zone. The landscape, as I said, the landscaping and exterior improvements will need to be implemented. Those were our conditions. Calls to law enforcement have seen that dramatic reduction. And then, as I said, and as I will keep saying, the distilled liquor must be confined to a locked cabinet that is only accessible to store employees. With that said, we recommend that you adopt resolution number PC 24027, approving conditional use permit 968. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and the applicant is also in the audience available to answer questions.
Okay, any questions here for this?
Sure, I do have a question. Is this particular location, is it a franchise or is it part of the 7-Eleven Corporation?
So from what I've gathered, it's actually part of the franchise. It's actually a part of the franchise, as you mean, like it's not. It's part of the franchise, but I also have the applicant here that's able to answer questions.
You're welcome to come to the dais. I think there's a button there. There you go.
Thank you. I'm Bruce Evans. I represent 7-Eleven. With me tonight is the franchisee, Gurmeet Singh, in the jacket. His manager, Benny, is in the hat. A little bit about Gurmeet. He's a retired software engineer for Boeing. He acquired this franchise in 2016 to keep himself busy in his retirement. So I think the staff report covered everything. I do want to extend my thanks to Mr. King and Ms. Younger. The planning department here is always very professional and great to deal with, and they were in this case. The only thing I would highlight is that this is a modest request. The 7-Eleven cannot morph into a liquor store or anything like that with the conditions of approval. As Ms. Younger said, the distilled spirits are going to be kept behind the counter. We're not sure exactly on which side behind the counter, whether it be on the right or the left, but behind the counter. And we're talking only about maybe a 4 to 5 foot wide shelf. So something along the lines of a bookshelf. They just don't have that much space back there. And it's going to be very limited offering. So nothing like a liquor store, can't become that. We don't want to be that. 7-Eleven's actually trended much more, if you go into their stores now, towards grocery items, medicines, salads and sandwiches and fruit delivered every single day. So this is just one way for the store to offer an additional convenience item, but it's not going to materially change the character of the store, and we don't want it to. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions.
One more, if I may.
Sure.
What percentage of stores in the area have that offering?
With distilled spirits?
Yes.
Well, for 7-Eleven, it's pretty rare. It's becoming more common, but I would say still rare. What's driving the effort to add the distilled spirits, quite frankly, is all of the restrictions on tobacco that have taken place over the years with the state flavor ban and then local restrictions. That has significantly cut into their sales. So they are looking for ways to expand their offerings and make up for that loss because those losses particularly hit the franchisees. So I don't think I ever had an application for distilled spirits at a 7-Eleven. I've done this for 23 years until about 4 or 5 years ago. So we certainly have enough locations. They know how to manage it. Their protocol, again, is to keep it behind the counter if they have enough space, like they do in this store. If they don't have enough space, it's always in a locked cabinet on the sales floor. Key thing is there's a condition in this case which says must be inaccessible to the general public and only accessible to the employees, and that would be the case here.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay, then open the public hearing portion of this agenda item. If we have any testimony?
Just Mr. Evans, and I think that concludes your comments, I believe. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay, then we need a motion to close the public hearing portion. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza, Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay, now we need to consider and propose a motion to adopt this Planning Commission Resolution number 24027 to approve this repeal of conditional use permit number 516 and to allow the sale of beer and wine and distilled spirits for off-site consumption with a type 21 ABC license at this 7-Eleven.
Timmons, so moved.
Gonzalez seconds.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza, Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Okay. All right, agenda item number 5. Zoning ordinance text amendment number 33. And we are, we'd like to open the public hearing portion of this and then continue the public hearing portion to our next meeting on October 2nd, 2024. Okay, so let's formally open up the public hearing, and then we need a motion to continue this to our next meeting.
Gonzalez moves to continue to our October 2nd, 2024 meeting.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza, Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody, Vice Chair Timmons,
Yes.
Chair Weisenberger.
Yes. Agenda item number 6, oral reports, city council actions. Do we have a report tonight?
I do, just a quick one on the second city council meeting last month, August 27. The council introduced, following your approval recommendation, the change to our regulations about manufacturing businesses in the M1 and M2 zones citywide, and that's the change to a couple things. One was the public notices, so having more clarification on how metal manufacturing businesses with AQMD permits, we're down to 15 of them. Whenever they get a new CUP to expand, one of the requirements is to have a notice board on the streets, which Weber Metals is in the process of doing right now. But the change requires specifics of posts and the type of material. So that's in there. And the main thing was about moving away from public forums for these businesses, informational sessions that the city ended up hosting, moving that to a digital format. So having the requirement for these 15 businesses to produce a 5-minute video detailing their operations and materials and more about them and contact information. So the council did take your recommendation. They did ask for one little bit of additional information to the ordinance, which they added. And it was, let's see, when there is a change based on a conditional use permit, basically to add that into the video ahead of the end of the 6-year period. Don't wait till year 6, update the video, produce an update to the video reflecting that change that the Planning Commission would approve. If that makes sense. And that's it for the actions.
Okay, agenda item number 7, comments from our city attorney. Any comments? No comments. Commissioners? Any comments? No. And how about from our staff? Any comments?
No, other than I hope you had a nice Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
Sure did. Hamburgers and hot dogs, corn on the cob. That
All the good stuff. Yeah.
doesn't get any better than that. Okay, then let's adjourn our meeting tonight, and we will reconvene on October 2nd, 2024 at 6 p.m.
Board Member Gonzalez,
Here.
Board Member Timmons,
Yes. Here.
Board Member Weisenberger,
Here.
Vice Chair Esparza, Chair Moody.
I move to approve.
Board Member Gonzalez,
Abstain.
Board Member Timmons,
Yes.
Board Member Weisenberger,
Yes.
Vice Chair Esparza, Chair Moody.
No public comments have been submitted.
billboard on vacant land north of Rosecrans Avenue between the Los Angeles River and the 710 freeway. Parcel number is 6236-035-013, and then M2 heavy manufacturing zone.
And I'll jump right into a little report for you. You're ready to go. So for this is to revisit an approval that you as the Development Review Board, you checked the box a year ago for this project. But the applicant needs more time. So this happens from time to time. You do set a 12-month limit typically to get the application signed off, to submit for building permits and construct, and then keep the project moving forward. In this case, that did not happen. This had a companion application, and that was a development agreement. So you, as the Planning Commission, reviewed a draft of the development agreement. You recommended approval to the council, and that's where everything kind of stalled out. It was scheduled late last year, late 2023. It was postponed a couple of times and then removed from the calendar. The reason had to do with financials. With an agreement like this, it's just a practice of cities. If you're going to have a digital billboard, you want to have through a development agreement to have a portion of the revenue, just a modest little portion, and that has not happened. So with that, in the meantime, this buys the applicant another year to work that out, and we're not going to wait another year. We should have some results one way or another in the next few months. So again, it's the vacant land north of Rosecrans Avenue, just kind of a lost Paramount. Once the freeway was constructed and the river, this is what you ended up with, some kind of remnant parcels, and it's been vacant for all these years. It's a few acres, but this particular site is a little over 10,000 square feet, well, 10,603 square feet. Here's the whole background. So there was a similar proposal, same property owner, but a different applicant in 2020, and that fizzled out basically. So it was restarted in 2023 by the applicant. She set aside the billboard company she had been working with and hired an attorney. The attorney's the official applicant, is working on her behalf, and he's working really hard. He actually hired a well-known, call it a billboard broker, to communicate between to get this proposal through and set the stage for getting the best deal, and deal meaning a win-win for the property owner, the billboard company, and the city. So, and I mentioned the development agreement. Here's the site plan. A bit of a site plan. So you'll see on the running east and west, that's Rosecrans Avenue. There's the bridge going across what you see as the river. And there's the interchange, the on-ramp to the 710 kind of wraps around these vacant parcels. There's a number of them there, including like a Chevron parcel. This particular one is highlighted, is bound by the red dashes. And you'll see where the freeway facing billboard is proposed. It's kind of a V shape because it has two sides directed to both the northbound and southbound 710 lanes. And again, between the Los Angeles River and the 710 freeway. Here's a photo of the site on a cloudy day, and I'll kind of highlight more or less, you kind of see a darker patch in the ground. That's more or less where the proposed location is. What you see on this slide, so before you is what was approved in 2020. This will serve as inspiration for this project. So the precise design would come back to the Development Review Board, but some of the elements would remain. So definitely would have to have the city logo, would have to say City of Paramount. And in this case, there's a bit of a theme, a nice little theme playing on the Los Angeles River, maybe before the natural state. And as you know, there's some efforts to restore it to some degree of nature. Well, the birds and the river element. So kind of a nice, and that's metal work. So it may not be that precise design, but something in that vein. And then of course, you'll, promoting, there's a requirement for this is more on the development agreement side, but having what's called airtime. So airtime is the amount of time available to promote city programming and city events. So in this case, it's the summer concert series. So at least 5% of the time there would be promotions for city events. So that's a big plus for this kind of project. So with that, we recommend that you approve a 1-year extension to Development Review Application 23013, subject to conditions of approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Don't you think you should have like a razor wire or something underneath that thing so people can't crawl up there and try that?
There are actually requirements for security, including lighting, perimeter fencing. We may talk, I can't remember if there's a prohibition on razor wire, but the code does have a prohibition if it's visible from the public right away. So there are a number of security elements that will be considered. Unfortunately, in this day and age, you kind of have to plan for the worst.
That's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, anybody can get to that.
Yeah, and that is kind of the benefit of this project. So there's been no activity, so you'll have trucks come and go and dump. So at least you'll have some presence, there's the occasional maintenance and upkeep that goes on, and the requirement to keep it weed free.
So I do remember when the applicant came before us. I mean, they're almost ready. Now, is this hold up on our end, the city?
It's there's been an ongoing process with there was with the former city attorney and the attorney representing the property owner. We're actually very close. I think we're and they just down to money. So all the other elements are gone, and we just have to get to that find that sweet spot.
At the same time, there was another applicant that was very adamant. Is that applicant no longer in the picture?
We haven't not heard from him in a while, but he's still a property owner, I believe, or has an interest nearby in one of the adjacent properties. But you could say he probably is waiting in the wings to see what happens. I'm sure.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment? Not really a question, just a comment, because I've seen these illuminated signs across boulevards, not necessarily over the freeway or near the freeway. I think it would be good for our city to have it, for advertisement. I'm just a little concerned sometimes about the distraction, on the freeway. I think Inglewood has one on their main boulevard on Central, whatever that street is. And I'm telling you, if you go down that street, you see cars stopped, especially when they're advertising ball games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, you have to go around the car because it's stopped. I'm just a little concerned about our freeway, how that would, if it would pose any kind of problem.
That's a very good point, and we have seen a number of those. It's funny in that area, Hawthorne, I believe in Lawndale, they're doing the same.
Yeah.
You'll see some in Los Angeles. Garden Grove, they have more intended for messaging, more public messaging. But you're right that this city council, our city council here, is not open to extending this to the streets, the roadways within the city proper. for that reason. It's a different level of distraction, and it's weighing the costs and benefits. Our thought is and there was a significant study into this with the original proposal with the mitigated negative declaration. So there is quite a bit on glare and lighting and driver distraction and studies that have been done in the past. And for some reason, it is a different circumstance with freeways. We're more accustomed to them, especially in this area. California kind of leading the way. The 710 corridor, the 105, they seem to be popping up more and more. So we're aware of them. There's a limitation on the change. I believe it's 10 to 12 seconds before the content can change. Other areas, maybe we're driving on Century in Inglewood, and they are changing a little more frequently on was it Hawthorne Boulevard and Hawthorne. So we're not there.
That's right, over on the other side there. Yeah. That's true. Well, if we can mitigate the glare, because like on the 105 freeway, just at Long Beach Boulevard, just before that market, I mean, if you're driving, what is it, east on, it's blinded because the light is so bright, so we,
Dr. Simmons, when I'm coming into LAX, I can see the sign.
you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if we can mitigate that, and take down that bright light, in some way.
Yes, and the technology has advanced. Luckily, we've been hearing more about this and the particular diodes they use. It's they're very directional. Like they don't have the broad range of the older designs and technology. So there have been some improvements. Luckily.
Thank you.
So motion to request for a one-year extension to construct and install freeway-oriented digital billboard on vacant land north of Rosecrans Avenue.
Timmons, so moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Board Member Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board Member Timmons,
Yes.
Board Member Weisenberger,
Yes.
Vice Chair Esparza, Chair Moody.
Any comments? Anybody?
Thank you.
Staff?
No comments from staff.
The Fair Development Review Board is adjourned till October 2nd, 2024 at 6 p.m.
I could do this and hammer it on the. I know, huh? I have one. I can bring my own. Okay, the Economic Development Board is now open for September 4th. May I have roll call, please?
Board Member Esparza, Board Member Gonzalez,
Here.
Board Member Moody, Vice Chair Weisenberger,
Here.
Chair Timmons.
Yes. Thank you. May I have an approval for minutes of August 7th, 2024? Been moved in second. May I have roll call, please?
Board Member Esparza, Board Member Gonzalez,
Stay.
Board Member Moody, Vice Chair Weisenberger,
Yes.
Chair Timmons.
Yes. Public comment?
There are no public comments.
Okay, thank you. Under new business reports, is there oral report?
Yes, there is. And I'll be handling this report on behalf of Assistant Planner Leslie Corrales. Unfortunately, she was unable to be here this evening. She did prepare this great report, so I'll do my best. I'll do my best to live up to her hard work. And it's about the Olympics. So as you know, the Olympics this summer was at Paris, and it's coming to Los Angeles. So uniquely, years before this, the International Olympic Committee they approved the Olympics for two cities at the same time, 2024 in Paris and 2028 in Los Angeles. So a lot of folks are gearing up, and this presentation gives a little background and explores the economic benefit that's anticipated. So this year it was in July and August. 206 countries participated, which is almost all of them, if I remember right. 10,500 athletes competed from around the world, and there were approximately 15 million visitors. And multiply that out for the viewers, and I believe that should be, I want to say billion, no, many viewers. That's on the U.S. side. USA 126 total medals. This is a huge accomplishment: 40 gold, 44 silver, and 42 bronze. Talking about leading the charge, yes. Well, I like that logo. So LA 28. I understand there's a few logos, so that's a nice one there. So we're this region. So it is Los Angeles, the city, but really the region. There will be events up and down the county. It's set July 14th through the 28th of 2028. And we've done this before, so there's a history. That's why we have the Memorial Coliseum, and so the previous Olympics was 1932 and 1984. So that was a big deal, as you know. So this year, what are we looking for? Highlighting the global role and diverse culture of Los Angeles. This is, the spotlight will be on this area. Every, commercial break, every time you're streaming, you'll see the Hollywood Hills, you'll see the coast, you'll see Long Beach, and what makes this area special, engaging and involving the communities and stakeholders. So they're going to try to not just be Los Angeles, but engage all the communities. As happened in '84. I'll show you a couple slides on that, or a slide on that. And then, of course, the economic impact during the games, during the event, and after. It's like after the Rose Bowl parade, they say so many folks want to move to Los Angeles. So that's kind of the thing. Maybe you'll get more folks who at least have the dream, continue the dream. Here's a look at the venues. Riviera Country Club, is that Polo? It's out there and looks like Bel Air, or is that Polo, the Polo Grounds? So you have downtown, the Crypto Arena. I understand the branding will be removed for the Olympics, so their sponsorships kind of get removed. BMO Stadium, that area, SoFi Stadium, Dignity Health Sports Park, so closer here. Actually, I should click on this. Here's Paramount. Ta-da. So give me some context. So you could think of this city as in the middle of it all, kind of a hub. So you could very well see some athletes or their families staying very close. Down to Long Beach, the waterfront, and the Marine Stadium. Here are the Long Beach venues, and I should actually turn to the script. This first picture is the Marine Stadium. So canoe sprinting and rowing. I didn't know this, but the marina was actually built for the 1932 games for rowing. So there is that history. There is that connection, very, very close to us. Then you have Belmont Shore. You have the sailing, the convention center, artistic swimming, and water polo will be held there, and they're going to be doing some transformation of the facilities to achieve that. And then finally, the Long Beach Arena. Oh, here's a fun one. Handball. We're going to have our handball close to home. We're all thrilled. And the Carson venues. Speaking of thrilling, so this is great. We're going to have right by here by Cal State Dominguez Hills. Top left is the tennis courts. You're going to have tennis just a few miles away from Paramount. Oop, let me go back. The stadium is at the right. You're going to have rugby. And with rugby comes the New Zealanders and the haka that they do. So looking forward to that. And the field shown at the bottom is going to have hockey, field hockey. And City of LA, so you have the Memorial Coliseum, of course. So this iconic, you're going to be seeing the image of the Memorial Coliseum a lot. So leading up to it and throughout, and I'm sure lighting the Olympic torch there has been used for previous Olympics, and here you have the track and field event. So really looking forward to that. Top right is the pool and exposition park. Going to have diving, so that's going to be upgraded as well. And out the Alley Arena will have all forms of gymnastics. Really popular. We're lucky that a lot of the gymnasts are regularly at UCLA. And finally, the convention center, they're going to have fencing, judo, table tennis, taekwondo, and wrestling. Sad thing is they're taking away breaking, so that no breaking this in Los Angeles. City of Inglewood, also nearby, it's going to host a lot of events. The top is SoFi Stadium, newly opened. That's where the swim events will be hosted. Bottom is the Intuit Dome Arena, the Clippers Arena. So that's the new modern facility. So that will be basketball. That really is the tops. If I don't know if you've seen all the bells and whistles that happens there. Steve Ballmer doing his thing, and both of these are actually pending approval from City of LA, or because they're out of town, I guess. And transit, you might have heard that they're going to try to. At first, the organizer said it's going to be car free, but I guess it'll be more car minimal. So you really have to have a plan. So 8 million spectators, so not counting the athletes, 8 million spectators. They're going to have to get some more buses in town, getting additional buses and direct connections, and open up additional lanes covering up to 75 miles. And of course, security, we've got to, in this day and age, speaking of this day and age, have that security personnel present throughout. And there's Paramount, the little house in the middle. Sustainability, so all the good stuff about sustainability, electric buses, bike sharing, prioritization of locally sourced materials. So you want to hire locally and that kind of thing. And engaging the local community about sustainability practices. So the next generation, they're our future, they're going to be speaking to this. And the economic benefits. So here it is, a study saying that the Olympics could have an $11 billion economic impact. And that's $7 in direct spending. So then the ancillary spending gets you to $11 million, creating 79,000 full-time jobs, generating $167 million in tax revenue. So not bad. And just looking at the '84 Olympics, I remember that they said that the folks said that was the first to be profitable. So $3.3 billion impact. So there may be some cost. I mean, who knows if it's going to be profitable or not? But the ripple effect outside of the priming the pump, there will be a great ripple effect. So as promised, here's the 1984 Olympics and Paramount. Your formal council members Caldwell, Weldon, Bogard, Mulrooney, and John Meese. Up in the top left, and you could below that you could see the zigzag route from 1984, getting equal time to the various cities throughout LA County. So hopefully we'll see the same 2028. Bring the torch to Paramount, and you see photos of folks waiting for the torch, and the top right, Paramount welcomes the Olympic Torch Relay, 8411. I believe that's where you just heard the Dr. Allen's proposal for his new clinic and museum. So 1984. Oh, they all kind of pop out. This is Leslie's magic touch. So I hope I did her justice. Hope I could answer any questions if you have them.
Actually, I think Leslie did a wonderful
Yes.
job. She really put together a lot of great information, and I'm looking forward. I'm so excited that we won out, that it's coming to California, United States. I didn't see the Intuit Dome at the beginning when you were highlighting the different, and I was different little areas there, and I was kind of concerned because that's a new upcoming facility. I was there about a week ago. They had a training for their first young people. They call it the Clippers training something. Anyway, they took us inside and we got a chance to
Amazing.
review, and it was fantastic. So that's got to be one of the places that they hold some of the events. You know, so the revenue I think is going to be fantastic that we're going to get. So.
Excuse me, may I address the commission? Intuit Dome is going to feature basketball.
Yes, that's what they. Well, that's what they were doing there. What
Yeah.
did they say?
No,
NFL?
it's going to be basketball for the
Oh,
Olympics.
they're going to do that. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
So all the games for basketball will be at the Olympics. SoFi will feature swimming.
Oh, okay. And everything else is have to be. Okay, thank you for that. Any comments? Got something to say.
I say all the preparations already. The transit system and LAX. We'll benefit from that. We may suffer congestion during that month, but the benefits before and after will certainly be there.
I heard our mayor specifically say that she's trying to make it so that all the transportation will be either by metro or bus. They're trying to eliminate cars coming to the different venues. You know that's not going to happen, but
No, well, they'll certainly have to improve the safety
yes.
quite a bit before that happens.
Okay. Any other comments? No comments from staff?
No comments from staff.
Or
Thank you.
adjourn? Okay. Well, I will adjourn the Economic Development Review Board to October 2nd at 6 p.m.